So this is the module of the week. We have something new here at Talking Drupal. We have I think we're calling it a correspondent, a module of the week correspondent. So a frequent guest and contributor to the show, Martin Anderson Klutz, is here to join us this week and every week for the near future. And he's going to talk about the module of the week. Martin is a Acquia triple certified Drupal expert and the maintainer of a number of Drupal modules, in addition to being a senior solutions engineer at Acquia pre-sales team. So Martin, welcome. And what is our module of the week?
Thanks, Stephen. Actually, before I jump in there, I want to mention that if anyone has a module that they want to nominate for module of the week, please tag me. I'm Manclue in Drupal Slack and put that into the Talking Drupal channel. So the module that we're going to talk about this week is called Entity Comparison. Essentially what it does is it generates a configurable comparison table for two or more Drupal entities. Anybody who's been to a number of e-commerce websites or even just product catalog sites will have seen this kind of functionality where you on individual products can click to add them to a comparison and then click to actually view that comparison. Of note, it's actually not dependent on commerce, but it's something that you should be able to use with commerce if you need to. In terms of its history, the module was originally released in 2017, but the current 4.0 release was created in August of 2022, and it's already ready for Drupal 10, in addition to having security coverage. It's not super widely used currently. It's used by 292 websites, but the issue queue for the module is pretty clean. There's 3 open issues, and 2 of them have patches that need review. And talking, I think, a little more generally about how the module works, it actually is pretty simple to set up. I tried it out for the first time 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it took me probably less than a half day to really get it set up and working, including customizing which attributes would be used for the comparison. It basically generates comparison configuration entities, and then within those, you'll specify which entity type and which bundle will be used. And then that actually automatically will create a view mode for that selected bundle. And that allows you through the Drupal UI to specify which attributes are going to be displayed in which order and using which formatters. And then it also provides a couple of other nice features, custom blocks that you can use. So either to place on your product page to add to that comparison feature, as well as another block to actually provide the link out to the actual comparison itself. The other thing that it does is it actually provides a field of its own. So if you have sort of your standard product page and you don't want to use that block, you can actually display that as a standard field through the field UI as well. So maybe for the rest of the hosts here, has anybody used either any entity comparison or a different solution for generating this kind of product comparison functionality?
Well, it sounds like the key feature of this is it allows the end user to compare two entities, right? It's not that you're just building a table to compare a couple of things. It's so that the end user can be like, I'm interested in this one and this other one. What's the key features, right?
Yeah, very, very good point. It's yeah, as you say, it's not like on some Amazon product pages where you'll see like a pre-generated comparison of all of the products in their line. It's, as you say, more for the visitor to be able to pick which products they want to compare.
I've not used this. I've built that feature a few times manually. So I'm sure I have a couple clients that I'm definitely going to take a look at this for and see if it's worth moving all the custom code into the system, because it's fairly hefty to to manage that yourself.
Yeah, I can definitely think of a couple of products or projects that I worked on where we talked a customer out of this kind of functionality because we thought it would be too expensive for them to implement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Martin, what was the use case that you looked at this module? Did you have something in mind?
So I was talking to a customer who is thinking about going to Drupal for their CMS, and one of the capabilities that they really wanted to see was this ability to do a product comparison. And so did a little searching around and found this, and I thought it was great that it's obviously you could use it on a commerce site, but the fact that you can use it in a variety of different use cases I thought was pretty interesting. So as an example, you could do something like, let's say, a job search site where the person who posted a listing could actually do a quick comparison of different people who had applied to that job, or conversely, a job seeker could do like a comparison of different jobs that they're interested in.
Interesting.
Yeah, this makes me think of the healthcare.gov page, right? When you're going in, for context, if people haven't used it, when you sign up for healthcare.gov, you can go in and there are tons and tons of plans, depending on context, right? That you can view, but sometimes you want to see like side by side deductible for this one versus deductible for that one, and having to build that kind of thing out for so many different plans could be very cumbersome. But allowing the end user to control that, you know, only you as an individual know what your healthcare needs are. So I can see a lot of utility there.
Can you expose some of the options to the end user too? So rather than just being like, I want to compare these two things, can you give them the ability to be like, I want to compare the price or the description? Or is it just you, as you just say, if you're comparing these two entities, these are the fields you get, and that's that?
So the comparisons are sort of predefined, but theoretically you could have more than one comparison for the same bundle. So you could say like compare based on price or compare based on features as like two different options, and expose those.
Martin, have you determined how flexible the user interface is to make modifications to that kind of UI for the end user?
So full confession, I haven't used this a ton myself, but based on that kind of initial setup and trying it out, it seems, again, because it leverages sort of the field UI that's very flexible within Drupal, you can even create new formatters, you know, completely custom if you need to. It really gives you a lot of flexibility as a site builder.
Now I want to build something just to experiment with it.
You're right.
Sounds neat.
Well, thank you for joining us, Martin, for this new segment. It definitely is an interesting module. Like Taryn said, I have a couple of use cases in mind for it. So thank you for joining us, and appreciate your input.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next week.